What's going on, Archivist? Welcome to the Archivist Almanac. I'm your boy Varni, and today I've got Ethereum Knight with me, otherwise known as Cameron. What's going on?
Cameron, I'm doing pretty good. Had a pretty good weekend. Went to regionals. Didn't go to locals because we were pretty tired out from going and driving for 5.5 hours. But yeah, it was a good week.
That's how I felt driving up to Boston. I was like, yeah, it was 5.5, 6, because you encounter all the people who don't know how to drive. Never fails. Doesn't matter where you go. People forget how to drive all along the way. Construction, that's always a thing. Construction, always going on. Never ends.
We have a lot of it in Wisconsin. We have so much construction, and we have a thing in Wisconsin where we don't like people from Illinois. So we always say they're bad drivers. So we had to deal with that going through and all the bad Illinois drivers. So
that's how it is here in Pennsylvania. So so the tri-state area, technically speaking, is it's not technically speaking. The tri-state area is, I don't even know why it's called the tri-state area, because the tri-state area is really just New York and New Jersey, but it's really just New York City and then this little part of New Jersey in which all of the people who work in New York live. But we end up getting all of the people who work in New York and New Jersey living in Pennsylvania. So we end up with the worst of both parts, and it sucks.
Yeah, I couldn't
because
imagine
they
making
all
that
don't
drive.
know how to drive.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it either.
Yeah,
I made the drive
crazy.
to Philly for many years, and that was an hour, and I hated it, let alone New York and New Jersey. With the tolls, especially.
Oh, yeah. The other reason we hate Illinois.
I talked about this on our Digimon pod. We had a little bit of a conversation about the cultural differences in the States, because people who don't live in the US, they're always like, well, you guys you're right next to each other. It's I mean, yes, but also no, right? Because for us in Pennsylvania is so big, it takes me 5 hours to get from one part of Pennsylvania to the other part of Pennsylvania. I could drive 10 hours even and probably still be in Pennsylvania, is how big the state is.
Yeah, I think people don't really realize how big the United States is, and especially with big states like Texas, right, where you can drive 10 hours and still be in the same state. So it's pretty crazy.
Texas, Cali, New York is insane. It's or Florida even,
yes.
Miami all the way up to Orlando or Tampa is crazy, especially the cultural differences too. So yeah, totally get it. If you guys don't live in the US, now you know why it's such a it's oh, well, there's a regional happening, oh, why don't you just go? Easier said than done, buddy. I wanted to go to the Michigan regional. To go to the Michigan regional, let me paint the picture. It was either going to be a 12-hour drive one way, or depending on which airport I felt like driving to, which could have been 10 minutes to pay about $400 to $500 round trip, or about an hour to pay maybe $250 to $300 round trip.
Pretty expensive, yeah.
So yeah, that's why I didn't end up going.
There was people who flew though. There was Noel from Chess Club. We definitely had some people show up that had to go pretty far. And I only know that they had to go far because they used to be a local for us, and now she's out of state, and it makes me sad because I don't have someone really good locally to play against. So
now you got to be that person, right?
in 2 years, we'll see. Yeah.
That's how I feel. No, but I definitely think I would have flown, because I mean, I think it's just cool regardless to have that sort of kind of culture in GA.
I agree.
Where the regionals even are such a, especially at the store level, right? Because in Digimon, our regionals are our toppest level events, because the next thing up is nationals.
Right.
But obviously in GA, you have Ascents, which is our toppest level events, and then you have regionals, but regionals are then your store level events. And obviously for the Michigan regionals, they tried to make maybe not necessarily a weekend out of it, but they definitely said if you're going to come down for the weekend, you can come down the day before, because we're going to be running events. You can come hang out at the store, meet us, and play and jam games, and then you can come tomorrow on the because regionals was on the Saturday, was it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you can come on the Sunday and then still have some fun, and they still make a weekend out of it.
They actually ran the at AFK Games where it was run. They actually had their store championships the next day too. So it was a long, like, you come Friday, they had a win a box or something tournament going on that Friday. Then they had the regionals, and then Sunday they had the store championship as well. So
yeah, so that's
it was
perfect.
Definitely worth it. Yeah.
And that's fun, and I like that. You know, it's a really great little culture. I'm always listening to different GA podcasts, so of course I was listening to probably True Champions podcast yesterday, and they were talking about something yesterday where it was like talking about how great it is, like making a weekend out of all the events that people decide to go to, and it is fun, right? Like, it's not just like, well, I guess I'll go for the Saturday and then I'll figure out what to do if I just want to come back on the Sunday. No, like, you can go and make a plan for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in that case, right? So that's definitely fun. I know for Banish Zone coming up, I'm sure we have something going on. I haven't looked yet, but it's local to me, so I'm taking it for granted.
I saw it. I was looking through all the events for all the regionals and stuff, and I saw that, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's where he's from. And I'm like, oh, if I could make that out there, I totally would, but I don't think I can. So
yeah. So how was it? Would you play? How'd you do?
I played one of my favorite new champions. We played some CL.
Nice.
CL. It was fun. I had a lot of fun. I haven't had a lot of experience playing against people outside my locals, right? So because you're somewhat newer, I'm also somewhat newer. We discussed this previously. I haven't had a lot of experience playing against people outside of my locals. Which is why I loved having Noel there to play against, just to have that bigger name to have experience against, especially since I played a lot of Magic previously. Years and years of Magic. I'm old. All right. So going into a new game where I have to learn a lot of new things it's pretty rough, but it's rewarding. It's a lot of fun. So I went in with CL playing my own brew because that's just kind of how I am. I like to play my own decks. I don't like playing, this is the best deck. Let's play that, right? Yep. So I went in with CL playing Water CL. And I wanted to have a lot of fun with it. I didn't really care how I was going to do. I'm like, if I win one match, I'm happy, just get one win, see how the rest of the day goes, and see how we go from there. And it was fun. Round one, I don't know, you went to a tournament with the meta nowadays and you don't expect this to happen, but my first two rounds were against water, as I was also a water player, and I'm like, this is kind of nutty. I ended up playing against Diana round one, the Water Diana, the new one, the Aether Charge. Yeah, Aether Charge Diana. It was a pretty good matchup for me. I play a lot of taunters, interceptors, that kind of stuff, so I can kind of get in the way. And my boy CL does a lot of damage with his swords. You get some big swings in. I do think game one I got him down to, or I hit him for a total of like 9 with my allies and stuff. And then out of nowhere, I just Lamentations Toll with a heavy swing in my omens, and plus the mastery, and just hit him for another 10, and he was still at level 1 at the time and just killed him. I don't think he was expecting it, just like that 10 damage out of nowhere. So that felt really good. I also had some games where I was hitting for 17, 18 damage with the Lamentations Toll. It was really good. So I ended up winning round 1 against Diana. So that was a lot of fun. Good matchup, favorable for me, I think, between the Taunters and Interceptors. And then round 2, I played against the Water Allen Tamer deck that was running the frogs and the, what are they, like the Beastmaster guys that are like 3/3s that get buffed when you have a beast or an animal or whatever in play. They turn into 4/4s and then they have vigor. That deck just beat me because it's a water deck that plays Song of Frost, and I need to hit you with my swords in my deck for the most part. I can win outside of that. I'm playing like Vortex just for really fun draining abilities. That actually came up in round 3, but round 2 was pretty bad for me between the negates and the Song of Frost. I think in our second game, I went to attack him for like 17. He cast Song of Frost. I tried to Frostbind it, and then he had another Song of Frost that he was able to play for free. And I'm just like, oh, okay. Well, I guess that's how it happens, you know?
Fantastic.
Yeah, that was pretty rough. But he ended up, I believe that that guy I played against ended up going on camera the next round, which was pretty cool seeing him on camera when I came back and watched it afterwards. I liked the deck. It was cool. Round 3, I played against Jin. I played against a Fire Jin deck. Was a grindy matchup for sure. I just want to kill you. I want to knock you out. And he just wants to live. And my deck is a little bit more control-y, right? I like to play a lot of Taunters, like to play all that stuff. So I don't have that reach necessarily to quickly kill you unless I get to that late game, right? I need that level 3. I need to have the correct attacks in my omens and all that kind of stuff. So it was really grindy matchup. I ended up winning that because I was able to get my Vortex out. I was at like 29 health at the time or something, but I had 3 2-cost omens, and most of the stuff that he was able to cast was 2 costs. So anytime he would play something, I would be recovering 3 and dealing 3 to him. So I don't think he could just get across that line, because every time he tried to heal or whatever it was that he would try to play for 2, he was just healing me over and over again. I also play just as a card that I wanted to play that no one else plays right now. I played Vapor Jet Shield. No one plays this, and it's something I only really added because my girlfriend plays and she's playing Fire Dao-Chan. So those Fire Bloom Flourishes can be a real pain. They do a lot of pinging damage. So getting the Vapor Jet Shield out there, just negating 1 damage for every instance, just kind of turns off that entire deck.
It's like your own current.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. It's pretty sick. And it counts for everything. Every source of damage forever, as long as it's out, just take 1 less damage. So yeah, it was really good. I just barely squeaked out the win against the gym player. I think we were close to going to time in our second game. So yeah, that was a close one. And then in the last round that I played, because I only ended up playing 4. The last round I played, I ended up playing against Noel. And they showed up at the tournament and hey, how's it going? I haven't seen you in a while. That's kind of how that went. And I got my butt handed to me. Like it was, she was playing the Vanitas, the Ponytas deck. And man, I thought I was going to have a pretty decent matchup against it. And the ally presence on the board was way more of a problem than I expected. I wasn't able to level up properly, and it wasn't necessarily because of the Vanitas 3 ability. I just feel like I wasn't either drawing the dungeon guides, which I don't think I drew a single one that entire match, or I was needing to do something else proactive at the time, or defensively, I guess, to kind of protect myself. So it's an aggressive deck. You don't expect, if you don't play against it a lot, you don't realize how big those allies can get, and how rough that matchup can be. So it was a pretty clean 0-2 in that match. So I ended up dropping because I went with my girlfriend, and she's very new, but she wanted to go anyways. She ended up going 0-4. She had a lot of fun. She still won some games, which I told her, I'm like, I don't care you didn't win a match. You still won some games, which is all that really matters right now, right? You are learning and you won some games, right? Actually, really funny story she had for me from this event was she played someone who had a bunch of like 1/1s or 1/3s in play. And the person swung with 1 power creature, or 1 power ally, sorry, magic. 1 power ally, and she played a Searing Rebuke. And the person, I don't know if they didn't necessarily understand how it works or not, but they ended up taking 3 damage from it. And then they swung again with another 1 attack ally. And she's like, the Searing Rebuke is still active for the rest of the turn, so if this prevents damage, you're going to take another 3. And they're like, okay. And they swung anyways. And then they did it a 3rd time. So they just took 9 damage for no reason. And I'm just like, why would you do that? Just pass the turn. But
yep.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what happened there.
Nasty.
It's a good card. I hate it so much. I always make that mistake. Like I'll have like a Frostborn or like the Tenashal or whatever his name is, the 3/4 taunter. And instead I'll attack her first with like Dungeon Guide or something. And then like, oh, that was a bad idea. I probably should have attacked with the 3 attack ally first. So yeah, it was a good time though. And we got cool little, if it'll open, we got the cool little tokens. Yeah, these are sick.
Yeah, those tokens are awesome.
Yeah, I was excited. I got the this little one with like the crescent here, which is supposed to be kind of like a universal one that kind of you use for anything that they haven't made yet. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, they're really awesome. I like these things a lot. I as someone who came from Magic, I couldn't imagine Wizards of the Coast just giving something out like this. They'd be like, yeah, you can buy them at the event for $70, right? You can buy them for $70, but there's no way they would just hand something like this out.
Buy them? Yo, you're lucky as a Magic player, I guess. As a Digimon player, those don't even exist. What even are them?
That's true.
I have. Do I have any near me? Hold on. So I have these things called. I call these digi-counters. Mm-hmm. These aren't even like the good ones. I don't even know if I have good ones near me. Hold on. I'm gonna find them now. Gosh. No, I can't find them. So I have these things called digi-counters, and what they are is I made them with these little like twisty bits. Mm-hmm. I have some unassembled ones here, or some like muffed ones from what I 3D printed. Mm-hmm. So these are supposed to go together. These are like my old models. I have new ones, but these go together, and they're power counters, right? I made those because I got tired of counting my power with dice, because Digimon can get so freaking big. And those don't exist at all in our game. And the closest that we're getting to anything in our 5 years of existence with the game is dice that are coming out on a $200 set that is giving us a reprint of 12 cards that are, we're getting 1 copy of each card, and we're getting this leather box that realistically, this leather box cost maybe $60. It's not even going to cost that much. It's probably like $50 at cost, if so much. In total, I believe, personally, this set, I would have been comfortable paying like $120, mm-hmm. knowing that this set costs them 60 bucks at most. And that's on the very high end, of course, right? Because of course they're a big company. I'm sure they're getting it for way less than that.
Right.
All we're getting is dice. That's it. And I'm like, man, we have nothing that's like game accessories for this. And here's me with these little 3D printed stuff because that's all we've got. And here's GA with freaking metal counters. We have people in Digimon making binders, and I have no problems with like people like myself making accessories and whatnot, like whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But there's such a missed opportunity for the company to make that themselves, because then I'll just give you my money. Like,
right.
Sure, I could do it, and I don't mind giving somebody like myself the money. Like I'll support a fellow artist or designer or creator or someone. But if the company is going to do it, then I'll just, support the game. And in GA's perspective, small company, relatively speaking, they're making counters. And how much was the entry for Michigan? Was it like $40?
40. Yep.
$40 and
yeah,
you
40,
get a
you
freaking that's a set of 8, right?
And this isn't even all we got, right? We got these. We got I think it was 3 DTR packs. There was some promos. You got there's a little pack with a couple of promos. There's like a foil. I got foil Rangers boots and another foil. I don't know. There was some really cool stuff. And then Sapphire pack and a couple event packs. And then they were doing raffles and stuff too. Actually, speaking of, my girlfriend ended up winning. They did a raffle for like a newer player to the game, like a bronze player. She ended up winning a raffle for a Grand Crusaders ring. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So and that's the thing, right? It was awesome. Just go. They had all these events going, all these things going on. And it was definitely worth the cost of entry, 100%. Like just this alone, right? Something like this is huge. Not even counting all the packs and stuff. So
yeah, it's so awesome. I can't wait for ours because I can't wait to get my hand on one. Like I have some that I made for GAs, these small little, I don't even have those near me. They're somewhere around here. Small little like ephemeral counters that I cut out of wood. And then some other ones that I'm working on. But like those like metal ones are just, I can't make those here. I could if I really wanted to, but like those are a different level.
Yeah, I don't know if you've seen the ephemeral one, but it's like a little ghost.
Bro, that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
Is it the size of like a quarter, or is it bigger than a quarter?
This is bigger than a quarter. It's probably maybe like a 50. Not that anyone has really seen a 50-cent piece recently, but they're like a 50-cent piece. That's
phenomenal.
Yeah, they're pretty big.
So yeah, I'm very excited. What are we? I think we're like a month away from the Banished Zone regionals. So yeah, I'm super excited to get my hands on one of those.
There was a lot of people trading them too. A lot of people just like, I'm looking for this specific one. I think my girlfriend traded with someone. They wanted a specific one. My girlfriend wanted one of the quest counter ones because she also likes Yugioh. So yeah, they were doing a lot of trading for this stuff. I know there were a bunch of people looking for the distant one as well. I think that one is pretty popular. So
well, that's like the other cool thing, right? Is that you're not getting like a set, like a specific set of them. It's randomized, and then if you
I think
you get a specific set. I think
I think the top row from what I saw.
Oh, right. You get a specific top row and then 4 random ones.
Yeah, the top row is all the same, and then the bottom row was random.
Got it.
So, and I told her too, I'm like, you traded a top row one for a bottom row one, so that's good for you,
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the random row ones, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that. It's all the little things, man. All the little things. I'll probably glaze. I talked about glazing weaves on like another podcast and then previous podcasts. I'll probably glaze weaves on every podcast because it's my podcast.
Even when I first started playing the the Arasana starter deck, right? The fact that you get a solid, it's cardboard, whatever, but a solid like the herbs with all the different type of herbs on it and all that kind of stuff. That board in there for free, doesn't cost anything extra. Even little things like that are a huge deal for a card game, especially for newer players, right? When they might not have all those tokens because they haven't opened 500 booster packs or whatever, you know, to get all the random tokens and stuff. So something like that I think is really cool. So
speaking of Arisana, I have embarked on a new deck journey. I have not given up on Lorraine, but I don't know, been a little bit downtrodden on it, I guess, a little bit. Not because of like performance or anything. I've just kind of been like bored, I guess. Swords are cool, but like now, like obviously with all the results coming out, like everybody's been doing well with it, and I've always been the player who's like, cool, everybody's topping with the deck. Toy Story meme. I don't want to play with you anymore.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with like Merlin, because like I've seen people like topping with Merlin here and there, and I like Merlin a lot too. But I was like, everybody's topping with Merlin too, and I'm like, I don't want to play with you anymore. But more specifically, I've always liked the Spectre package, specifically incinerated. I can't speak. Incinerated Templar, and what's it called? Vengeful Paramour. And I wanted to try to make it work in Lorraine. But every time I try to make it work, I'm like, why don't I just play Lorraine? It makes no sense. I should just play Lorraine. It makes no sense trying to shoehorn this package in here because I'm just playing worse Lorraine. So I'm like, all right, well, if I'm not going to play any of the warriors, I should probably play it with a cleric. So I took a look at the clerics, and there's really only like, I think two clerics. No, there's three clerics. Diao-chan, Arisana, and Vanitas.
Yes.
And I was like, well, I'm not going to play with Diao-chan. It's all right, but I don't think I'm going to play with Diao-chan. Especially not Terra. If I wanted to go all the way to level 3, I'm not going to play it with that. Vanitas, I mean, I could. It's not the worst idea, but like everybody's playing Vanitas for the Ponytas deck. So do I really want to play Vanitas? So I was like, before I go to the Vanitas route, maybe let's try Arisana. And I noticed that like everybody's on like the wind and then the water version of Arisana. So I'm like, all right, let's try to have some fun with like the fire version of Arisana. So I've been waiting for the last week, and it's been extremely frustrating because I ordered my cards like I ordered them on like September 2nd, September 3rd. And I finally got most of my packages yesterday, but the last one is coming in today. And I haven't been able to play anything because I don't want to play Lorraine, and I don't want to play Merlin, and I don't have any of the cards I need to play Arisana because I don't have the starter deck. And I could play Diana because I do like Diana, but I don't even want to play Diana. I just want to play this Arisana Spectre brew that I've been thinking up. And I'm so excited to finally get this last package in, which is the most crucial stuff because it's the cosmic bolts. It's the 10 cosmic bolts I need to play this deck. If it was anything else, I was like, I could play it, but no, I need the cosmic bolts. So I'm super excited to finally have my last package coming in so I could finally start playing this stupid little brew. It's not even probably going to be good, but it's new, and I feel like I finally hit that point in the game where I'm like branching out and exploring, and I'm not just stuck on the one deck because I've learned the basics, and I can start venturing out and having fun. Not that I wasn't having fun before. I was having fun, but now we're having more fun. Fun is great.
I was stuck on Tristan for a while. I still love Tristan. I think Shadowstrike Tristan's a lot of fun. I think it was a really bad deck to try to do for my first deck, though. There's so much meta determining factors and what cards are in your deck, and you can't really necessarily just be like, oh, this stock deck and this is what won Worlds, but then now everything is different like a couple of weeks later, and you have to change up what's in the deck. It ended up doing well, right? It won in Michigan. So
yes, it did.
It's still very good. The
hybrid list too.
Yes. I'm just a little too new, I think, still to be using that as my main deck right now, but it is very good. So I decided on CL, and then I'm also looking at a suited deck as well. So I'm excited to play some suited, honestly. There's been a lot of talk about suited where the original list were like playing Xander, right? So you get either the prep counter or the glimpse. The new stuff has been Tony for the taunt to protect your suited allies.
Yes,
which is pretty good. Which is pretty good. I think that's a really valid option. I've been playing Tristan just because I'm like, I want to play Tristan still. I like her, right? So I'm gonna play level 1 Tristan. So I'm playing her just for the fact that I do have some prep counter stuff in there, but I like the ability to have agility. So I can play my allies and then I can return cards, have the option for like incapacitate or to activate one of the abilities of my allies that I just played, which I think is really good. That agility is really good with the suited cards, I think. So I think that's what I'm sticking to. I'm going to play some Tristan suited. So
I like the new archetypes a lot. I would like to experiment with suited.
It's so good.
But I don't know if I'm there just yet. I feel like PTM is going to give it something, and then I'm going to be like, oh yeah, here we go. Now we're in there.
My problem, as soon as PTM comes out, I'm going to see more chess stuff, and I'm going to want to play that stuff. Ever since I was little, I was a huge fan of chess. So as soon as I saw Snow White and Lily, the chessman stuff, and I'm like, oh my god, why is there like none in this set? I need more of it. And so now I'm just sitting here impatiently waiting for more chessman stuff. So
that's what I'm really waiting for. I'm super excited for like more Alice stuff to really make use of Alice 1, because obviously it's inevitable that she gets a level 2 because she has a lineage release, and clearly she's not just going to sit with whatever generic level 2 you would want to play with. She's going to get some sort of Alice 2, and then we have that Dark Alice image that we got with the PTM stuff. So like, are we going to get some sort of Umbra Alice to go along with CL? Like there's so much ideas and brews that can go along with it. I'm super excited to see how they all work. The chessman strategy stuff seems decent. I'm just more excited to like actually play the Alice card, and then all those like chessman subtype cards seem cool. Like see some use for Briar is like my biggest thing.
Yeah,
because Briar's obviously a unique ally. There's the pride stuff, or the stuff that works on like having unique allies on field is cool, but like I really want to see something make use of all of this stuff that we have. There's such a small amount of them, and I can't wait to see like these cards really have more of a payoff. So
yeah, it feels very much like there's going to be some sort of having, just like with the suited stuff, where if you have a certain number of them in play, it makes the stuff cost less. It feels like it's going to be something similar with chessmen, where you're going to have added benefits for having multiple different type of chessmen in play. You got, you know, the queen, king, etc., rooks. I mean, that's all we have so far. I think are those 3. Get some pawns in there, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Get some pawns with floating memory, probably, right? That seems pretty realistic. Get some bishops. That'll be pretty cool.
Do we have a deck in GA that says like you can include up to like more than 4 copies of this card in a deck?
In GA, I don't think so. I don't think I've seen anything in GA yet.
Coming from like Digimon, we have 2 or 3 decks that say like you can include up to 50 cards, up to 50 copies of this card in a deck, because they're kind of like the grunts. Comes from the anime, but it would be cool to see that like you can include up to X copies of this card in a deck because they're the pawns, and they're just some sort of like generic, maybe like, I don't know, 1-drop 1/1. I don't know what they would do, but it would be cool to see something like that. That would be some sort of like pawn type that does something. I don't know how they would design it. That would give some sort of fluff into this sort of chessman archetype style. That would maybe work well with being the whole, I don't know. I'm not a game designer. I'm just throwing things out into the wild.
I know. Magic play has stuff like that too. Shadowborn Apostles, you can have as many in a deck as you want. Mostly because its abilities, you have to like pay a mana and like sacrifice 6 clerics or whatever to use its ability. and they're all clerics. So yeah, you can play as many of those as you want. I know Magic has a lot of those. So it'd be interesting to get something like that in here. Or at least like a set number, you know? Yeah.
Interesting. Can't really abuse her with the... Can I? I mean, I guess I kind of could, but there's not really...
Oh, she is a cleric. Yeah.
Because the Chessman command, that's the only thing. We have like one command card, or is it two?
I think it's just the one, right? For Chessman? It's just the
one. Yeah, it's just the one.
And it's
then
good.
If the killed unit has an even life stat, draw a card. I need more. I can't wait for PTM, and it's still whole 3 months away. But wait, is Akihabara next month, or is that in November? Because I know Taipei is this weekend.
I think it's November, because I think October is Niagara Falls.
Okay, right. Taipei this weekend, and then Niagara Falls, and I think Auckland is next month.
Is there two of them?
There's two. They're doubling up on one at some point. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And then there is or maybe did Auckland already happen? Or am I bugging? I don't even remember my timelines. Auckland is October 31st.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's right after Niagara Falls, yeah. Which means Akihabara is right after that. And that's when they're going to get the early PTM fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which is November. Oh, actually, November 22nd. And then PTM is maybe like...
It's like early December, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it's like 2 to 3 weeks later.
So, it's like early.
Okay.
Like, for some reason, I feel it's like December 5th or something is when we're
I know at
PTM.
the bare minimum, it's like this. I feel like December 5th rings a bell. So at the bare minimum, like from right now, it's like 3 months away. And it feels like it's 3 months too long.
No, see, it's funny. Like I just been starting to get that feeling too, where I'm just like, God, I really want the new set to come out. But I also come from a card game where we only had, a month and a half recently between sets now. And it's just like, there's no time to brew. There's no time to test anything. There's too much. There's too much going on. And I'm just like, you know what? This is nice. I get to play this. Gives me time to get the cards I want. Gives me time to test with different things. And then next set will come out and I'll be able to test with more stuff. It just got to control the FOMO a little bit, like you got to control it. We'll get it eventually. It'll come out.
Yeah, I do appreciate the time or the length in between the set. So DTR came out in July. Which was the set that came out before? That was HVN, right? When did HVN come out? Maybe March? Because I know it was out for a minute before I joined. I got my Mortal Ambition case.
March. It looks like March, yeah.
Quite a minute. So that means there was 4 months between DTR and Abyssal Heaven. And then 6 months between DTR and PTM. Okay, so I mean it's not horrible.
Yeah, well, July, August, October, it's just 5 months, yeah.
5 months.
Which this does feel like it's a little bit longer, but
just a touch, un petit.
Yeah.
But
maybe it'll give us time to deal with this.
Beginning of December.
It'll give us time to deal with this whole Rile situation, We'll get to figure it out.
I'm very curious to see what happens this weekend in Taipei. I figure there's going to be obviously a lot of Rile. I mean, it's kind of like a no-brainer. Like, why not play the massive high roll package? If you see Liminal and Float, might as well discard it. Discard Float for level up, and then put the Liminal on field, get the body, draw a card. If you see double Float, or double Liminal, I always go for double Liminal on my Rile discard because I'd rather get 2 bodies on field rather than discard my Float. Because double bodies is insane. So,
especially if you can end up pumping them and get in there. You just win with the Liminal guides, You don't even need to do the end game thing half the time if you can just pump them a little bit. So,
Yeah, exactly. I'm very interested to see like what happens. I feel like there are ways that like Rile could have been balanced. Considering like some of the other effects in the game. Yeah, I think slow speed is one. I think limiting it to once per turn. Like you can only activate that effect once per turn. Or a slow speed and once per turn, so that it's pretty much like a hard like, cool, I've done it once on my turn, can't do it during your turn. Now it comes back to my turn and I can only do it once. Would make it better, especially because it's going to discard 2, right? Because I don't think any other card in the game discards 2 cards. I think that's probably the biggest thing about it. Even if you take away like the draw factor of the card, no other card in game puts more than 1 card in the graveyard from your hand. Because Creative Shock only discards 1, Hasty only discards 1, and Hasty discards 1 to then draw you 1. So you have to pick before you actually draw 1.
I do think there are cards like the new Umbra card where just like you can discard a bunch to like recover from DTR. It's like you recover 3 for each card you discard or something.
Oh, I remember. I vaguely remember that card.
Yeah, but I don't think there's any like basic element card that does it, from at least from my limited newbie knowledge of the game. So
right. So it's like discarding such a massive amount of cards, because the only other way you're doing it, right, is something like Tidestone Bovine is a mill 2.
Yeah, mill
and the
2.
the only way that like you're really getting like a busted mill is if you're glimpsing, and I mean glimpsing only does so much. To really like make use of glimpsing, you have to be glimpsing a massive amount, and I feel like you need a bunch of setup to really get a good glimpse to set up your mills. And outside of that, there's just not much else. But those are also coming from deck rather than just straight from your hand.
True, which it's rough, right? I'm gonna go into it. I don't know how much you care to talk about it, but the difference between Lost in Thought and Rile, in my opinion, and obviously this is newer player experience. I think that the huge difference here with Rile being able to replace itself from hand, and if you know they have a sensor in play, right, and you can't bring back your liminal, you can't bring back your or use your floating memory, right? Those cards are basically useless now anyways until you find an answer. You can still get value out of them. You can still discard them to replace them in your hand. You're still going even at that point.
Right.
Whereas something like Lost in Thought, if they have a sensor in play, you literally can't do anything with the card. You can't, get it into the graveyard with the, Frostworm Paladin. You can't use its ability to draw you a bunch of cards. You can't even replace itself. So I think that Rile, especially being able to do it at fast speed, in the matchups where it has the hate out against it, it's really rough because the hate doesn't stop you from just being, okay, well, I'm going to replace it and these other useless cards with other cards that can actually do stuff in this matchup.
Right.
So I think that's one of my biggest pain points with Rile as a card. I think in general, a lot of the hate does do pretty well against it. But I think the fact that there is a card on the ban list that I actually feel like actively does worse against a card like Censor than Rile is kind of telling for me that I feel like the card might be a little too strong. And it's kind of either all or nothing with those two cards. I feel like it's either Lost in Thought is fine, which means Rile is fine, or both should be banned. So, yeah,
my thoughts as a newer player, I feel like they should be taken with a grain of salt for anybody watching. But coming from a newer player, somebody hopping in the game right prior to DTR release, I played Lorraine prior to Rile and then Lorraine post Rile. It was fun playing Lorraine pre-Rile. It was kind of like, all right, cool, we'll see if we can get there. And sometimes you're not going to be able to. And I was able to eke out wins in matches. Obviously, Fractals was the big thing because it was like, all right, sometimes we're going to be able to get there, sometimes we won't. Getting into level 3 was pretty much the big thing. And now you can generate so much advantage, especially because of how much influence you generate, that getting into level 3, you're not losing anything along the way. And I think that's a big thing, not just for Lorraine, but any level 3 deck, which is fantastic, right? We should be able to have some benefit for getting into level 3. But the one thing I will say that I hate as a Rile player and enjoyer, because I will say that I do enjoy Rile, I hate the high roll nature of it, because I hate when I don't see I hate when I see Rile and none of my pieces to discard, or I see the pieces to discard and nothing that generates the discard factor, Hasty, Creative Shock, or Rile, and my opponent does. If my opponent sees Rile Liminal Float or Rile Double Liminal, and I don't, I already know I'm in for a tough time, because I'm like, damn, they just generated so much value. And what am I supposed to do, right? Especially as Lorraine. If I'm playing something like, I don't know, let's say I'm playing like CL. I guess CL has at least a decent time into it, because depending on the version you're playing as well. Obviously, you're going to be playing Fire because you're playing Rile as well, but maybe you're not running Flame Sweeps, right? Maybe you're focused on just turboing into 3 with Carters, but then Carter doesn't get the on kills from the liminals dying because they just go straight to grave. So you're never going to get that bonus. That means you also don't get your bonus from siphoning fractals, because those are also on kill effects, or when ally dies.
I mean, ally dies, yeah.
So it's like it's tough. I hate that high roll nature of it a lot. It's why I don't mind Rile. I just wish it was like more tempered, that it was like once per turn. Because like I had an opponent, like I had a mirror in what I think it was whatever regional, where I was up at, like, it was like 7 a.m. in the morning, and I was playing. And one game I saw all the Rile things, and the next game my opponent saw all the Rile things. And in that game, he was like, okay, Rile on my end step, and then it went to him, level up, whatever, and then he Riled into another Rile, and then a Creative Shock. And I was like, that's fucking insane. I was like, how am I supposed to beat this? I can't touch that. Like, at least when it was 4 Creative Shocks into a Cremation Ritual, it's like, okay, cool. Like, you Creative Shock, you play the Honorable Vanguard, then you Cremation Ritual. So you had to play the body, cremate it. Sure, you get the float, but that's not going to happen. You're not going to do anything with it till next turn. You get the cards in hand, but there's like a delayed aspect to all of this influence you're generating compared to all of this neutral card advantage that you're generating off of Rile. It's tough.
I do feel like that is something that you really need to consider in terms of, or they need to consider in terms of the banning of it, because I do think that a card that is that fluctuating in terms of power level really does make for non-games, and I think non-games in general are not good for the game. No one likes non-games. When the one person gets everything, the other person doesn't get anything. Okay, well, I have no chance to win this game now, but I have to play this card because it's like one of the best cards for, card influence right now. But if I just don't draw the other pieces, or if I don't draw the Rile, I just don't do the thing. I don't find that terribly fun. So
yeah.
As much as I think that the Fire CL deck was really fun, that's why I ended up going with Water, because I wanted to have fun with big swings and hitting people for 18. So
yeah. And I also think that, like, there are 2 other things I think. Number one, like, if Rile goes, first of all, like, a part of me is gonna like it, because in building Lorraine, I find myself wanting to play more than 60 cards, because I hate that essentially, what is it? Not even a quarter, a little bit less than a quarter of my deck is taken up by this engine, which leaves me less space for other cards that I actually want to play. Like, I love playing Sansa, and I love playing Banner Knight. I love playing those cards because I love giving buffs to my swords. I love when my sword isn't just coming in at level 2 for 2. I love when it's coming in for 3 to 4 and you're not expecting it. Or if I do a Rending Flames, right? It's not just, 5 to 10. It's coming in for 6 to 7, which doubles then to 12 to 14, because you're not expecting that, because I have these allies on board. I don't have space for that with Rile. And of course, yeah, well, you're playing Rile, your focus should be on going into level 3, but I don't want to give up some of the things that I'm playing. And that's just me as like, I don't know, this is me as a player. It's like more of like a little personal thing than
it's the trade-off, you know. If you
exactly.
like if you wanna play this really strong package, you got to run like minimum 12 cards, right? And you know, generally you want to run the 16, but minimum 12 card package. And yeah, I mean, I'm running the 61 card special in CL right now, so I couldn't cut the last card. I'm just like, I have no idea what to take out right now. But I think that while it is best to try to stick to that 60 cards, I think 1 or 2 cards over isn't always the worst in hurting consistency, especially if your deck has a lot of consistency, as it is trying to find those pieces. My CL deck, for example, I'm doing a lot of milling, and if there's a specific card I want, I can mill it away to the graveyard, and then I can use, especially if I'm trying to find a dungeon guide or something, right? For example, I can keep milling, and then I can use the armoire to bring the dungeon guide back after I omen it, right?
Yep.
Omen the dungeon guide, bring it back with the armoire, and then I can just slam down the dungeon guide. So it really depends on the deck. But I do think that there are some decks like this one where going a card or 2 over isn't a huge deal. So
yeah, agreed with that. I might have been taking some liberties with draw cards in these Rile decks that I've been playing recently, because I'm just like, well, if I'm gonna have all this draw power, surely playing all these extra cards isn't too bad. But the other thing also is, if Rile gets hit, aggro decks. I mean, aggro decks are always going to be a problem, I feel like, in GA, because aggro decks just generate so much value, right? Because Dialchan, for example, I was getting smacked up by that pre-Rile, and that doesn't get affected by any Rile hit. So like that's a constant. And when you consider that along with the other aggro decks, like there isn't really anything that stops those decks from being good. And the only thing that, air quote, like stands up against them in a way is just the fact that these Rile decks can outvalue them in such a way. So it's like, I don't know, there's I feel like from the design perspective, how much value these decks generate need to be looked at, because man, it does feel bad. It feels bad getting your teeth kicked in by the Rile deck when you don't see anything as the Rile deck, and it feels equally as bad getting your teeth kicked in by the aggro deck on turn 3. And there needs to be a balance.
would rather get my butt kicked by the aggro deck, because there are very clear and concise ways to try to fight against those decks that kind of already exist.
That's fair.
And I think that again, from a design perspective, I think that I would rather have them printing cards that help against aggro strategies than constantly having to worry about graveyard shenanigans. Because I think it's, you know, again, coming from Magic, it's gotten to the point where, like in Modern, some of the more expanded formats, where it feels like you have to run graveyard hate, sometimes even in your main deck at this point, where it's just like, you need to run this stuff because literally every deck is running some sort of graveyard interaction. And I do feel like with GA, they might be going into too much graveyard synergy a little bit too soon. You have the floating memory stuff, which is, you know, that's kind of a part of the game, right? It's built into the game. Having too much of this, bringing stuff back from the graveyard, interacting with the graveyard too much, is kind of taking away a core part of the game that exists, right? The floating memory, where too much is hurting that core aspect of the game. And I just don't want graveyard interactions to become too big of a part of the game to the point where people don't get to use that stuff. I'd rather it be like, okay, let's answer aggro decks, make the aggro decks pretty good.
Yes.
As much as I hate red and Magic, as much as I hate aggro decks here, because I'm a control player, right?
Yep.
As much as I hate them, I'm I would rather have answers to them and be able to deal with them, because then even the aggro decks, right? The mirror matches for aggro decks will be way more fun. And then they can bring in stuff to kind of deal with the other aggro decks. Whereas, you don't want these dragged out, games where I want level 3 decks to be good, but I don't want a mirror match like I had with my CL deck versus Jin, where it just felt like I don't want to be going to time, right? I want these games to end. So I think making the aggro decks a little better and then giving answers to the aggro decks is a much better game plan as a developer, in my opinion.
Absolutely. No, I agree with that a lot. I think the biggest thing to consider is that they are young, they are learning. I think on Reddit, for example, there's this one guy that's been posting like this severe criticism of Rile for the last, God knows how long.
Couldn't be me.
And I'm all for like the criticism of anybody, anytime, any place, anywhere, anyhow. But like, there also has to be an acknowledgement of like who, what, where, when, and why. Like it should be on both sides. And I come from a game where I know that there's a company out there who makes the game that I like and I enjoy, and I know that there's a 50-50 chance that they're listening or they're not listening, and that my complaints could entirely be going to the void. I could yell it to the sun and back, and they could just be like, all right, cool story, bud. Next.
There's also some companies out there where where that percentage is a little closer to 90% that they're not listening to. So.
Exactly.
We're in a place where we're good, and we're eating good here, where we know that our developers are actually listening. So
right, and it's a very clear issue, right? Like we know that they are monitoring. We know that they're looking at it, and they're not just looking at the fact that I think it was said either on I think what I'll leave this podcast off with is, first of all, if you guys are interested in this podcast, you should go check out other podcasts if you're not already listening to them. But what you should do, most importantly, is go check out the True Champion Gaming podcast that they just did with Theo from from the dev team. He is the head of organized play, and he basically said what he said about Rile is what they're considering when they ban any card isn't just how powerful this card is or how much representation this card has. It's a matter of, well, if this card is causing such bad player interaction, and if players end up disliking this card to the amount that they would essentially not play the game, then this isn't a card that should be in the game right now.
Correct, yeah.
And we would ban it for that reason, right? That's 100%. Essentially what it boils down to. 100%. And if Rile gets to that point where players are like, fuck this card, I don't want it in, I don't want to play this game because of Rile, then, if it gets to that point, then so be it. Then it will get banned. And I think that's like the biggest thing. Like their eyes are everywhere. They're on social media. They're in the Discord. They listen to the community's content, right? Like they have a creators program. They are listening. They know. So we're in a good spot, like Cameron said. We are. Very good to be playing the game and to kind of just know that your game isn't just going to be like, well, I sure do hope that they're listening to us talk about Rile because I sure don't like this card.
Yeah, for sure.
So that is it for today's episode of the Archivist Almanac. Thank you guys for listening. If you guys like this episode, please do drop a like, subscribe so that you know when future videos come out. And most importantly, drop a comment letting us know what you think about Rile. Do you guys like it, or do you too hate this card? Thank you guys for listening, and until we talk to you guys the next time, peace out.